Hello and welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you again. I'm really glad that you're here. We're back together. English class. Ya empieza la clase. Sit down, be still, pay attention, watch me carefully, listen to me carefully. Try to understand the structures I'm using. Try to assimilate the grammar I'm using, because everything I say is correct grammar. I grew up with the English language. I have an emotional pact with the English language. Just like you, al igual que tú, just like, se dice así, al igual que, just like you have an emotional pact, un pacto emocional, with the Spanish language. If I make a mistake in Spanish when I speak, te suena disonante. If I say, ¿por qué no has traído el libro? Es que te suena disonante. Traído es traído. Okay? So, but me, when I hear a person say traído, it's a mistake in Spanish, but it doesn't sound bad. Okay. Now, listen to the way I speak. Listen to how I speak. Dos formas de decir lo mismo. Escucha la forma en que hablo. Listen to the way I speak. Pay attention to the way I speak. And try to assimilate the forms. ¿Saben cargar un rifle? Do they know how to load a rifle? A rifle. Okay. You load it normally on top. If you have a rifle, okay, you put the bullet, the shell, inside the top. If you have a shotgun, it's different. A shotgun is different. A shotgun has one barrel or two barrels. Un cañón o dos cañones. A shotgun. Shot. S-H-O-T. Has several meanings. Shot is un disparo. Oí un disparo. I heard a shot. A shot in the dark. Un disparo en la oscuridad. A shot in the dark is una cosa muy poco probable. Tomorrow, Barça is playing against Recreativo de Teruel. Now, the probability that Barcelona will win is very high. The possibility that Teruel will win is a shot in the dark. So shot means disparo. Shot also means perdigones. If you have a shotgun, you open the shotgun and you load it at the top of the barrels, because it's escopeta, and then you shoot, pull, and you shoot. Shotguns are used for small game, not for big game. Small game is caza menor. Game, como juego, partido, game. Game has a second meaning. Game means cinegético, lo cinegético. Game management is la gestión cinegética, to control the animals in order to hunt better, okay? Sometimes hunters are better conservationists than conservationists. Okay, but in any case, small game is caza menor. Big game is caza mayor. Small game includes birds, like partridge, ducks, okay? Patos, perdices, ducks, like Donald Duck, partridge, a partridge in a pear tree. Okay, partridge. Quail. Quail is codornices. Pheasants, que es faisanes. And these are birds included in small game hunting. Rabbits, conejos, liebres. Rabbits and hares are part of small game too. Small game. A lot of people enjoy small game hunting. And then big game hunting. Big game hunting includes deer, wild boar, jabalí, elk, venado, and muflones, rams. It's big animals, okay? And for small game, they use shotguns normally. And for big game, they use rifles, okay, which are different. A rifle shoots one bullet. A shotgun shoots many different small pieces of metal. It's called shot. And the shot is encased in a cartridge, cartucho. O como dicen algunos, cartucho, okay? Okay, and you open the gun and you load the shotgun. And then you close it and then you're ready. And you shoot one trigger. There are two triggers. A trigger is un gatillo. There are two triggers on the shotgun. You pull one trigger, boom, and you can shoot from one barrel. And then you pull the other trigger and you can shoot from the other barrel. Okay? Now, if there are 100 birds crossing the sky and you point the shotgun up and you pull the trigger, at least one bird will fall. Okay? Yes. All right? Maybe 2 or 3. And then you have the second barrel, and you shoot the second barrel, and you bring down 1 bird, 2 or 3. In perhaps the best case scenario, in el mejor de los casos, at best, in the best case scenario, you can bring down, si es traer abajo, que derribar, you can bring down 6 birds. Okay? You have an expression in Spanish, más vale pájaro en mano que ciento volando. I don't agree with that expression. Yo prefiero ciento volando. If I have a good shotgun, which I'll bring down at least 2. Okay? At least 2. I'll never lose. Okay? In English, the similar expression is different. Vale más pájaro en mano que 2 en el arbusto. O en el monte, realmente, in the bush. Bush, como George Bush, the same word, has 2 meanings. Un arbusto, aislado, y también el monte bajo, is the bush. Sobre todo el monte bajo africano. Okay, it's called the bush. All right. ¿Vale más pájaro en mano que 2 en el monte? Pues no. I don't agree. I agree with the English expression, but not with the Spanish. Shotgun, to shoot. I'm not a hunter. I don't like hunting. I'm not against it, but I don't like it. Cargar un rifle, to load a rifle. Load. Es que se escribe load. Load. Se pronuncia load. Y de hecho, todas las palabras en inglés, casi todos menos una. La OA, el sonido fonético es OU. Por ejemplo, abrigo. Abrigo se escribe coat. Se pronuncia coat. Como si fuera OU, no OA. Coat. Carretera. Se escribe road. Se pronuncia road. ¿Ok? Cargar. Se escribe load. Se pronuncia load. Y load es como cargar un rifle, to load a rifle, and to load a computer, to download, lo conocéis todos, download, to upload, okay? To upload is to put something onto cyberspace. To download is to bring it down from cyberspace to your computer. To download. All right, ¿saben ellos cargar un rifle? Do they know how? Do they know how to load a rifle? Do you know how to play tennis? Do you know how to repair a microphone? Do you know how to speak English? Do you know how to play golf? Do you know how to play chess, ajedrez? Do you know how to teach English? Do you know how to put on makeup? Do you know how to make ceramic cups? Do you know how to convince people to do what you want them to do? Do you know how to use a pen? Do you know how to read and write? Do you know how to drive a car? Do you know how to repair an engine? Do you know how to pilot a 747 jumbo jet? Do you know how to speak several languages? Do you know how? Do you know how? Así decimos en inglés, donde en español decís, sabes. Pero ¿sabes jugar al ajedrez? En inglés, ¿sabes cómo jugar? Y el how es obligatorio. Do you know how to play chess? Do you know how to perform, what do you call it, on your fingers? The manicure, yes. Do you know how to paint nails? Do you know how to wash your hands? Do you know how to repair a microphone? Do you know how to drive a car? Okay. In order to know how to drive a car, you need to learn how to drive a car. And in order to learn how to drive a car, Somebody needs to teach you how to drive a car. I'm teaching you how to speak English. You're learning how to speak English. And if we succeed in our endeavor, if we succeed in our goal, you will know how to speak English. All right, ¿sabes cargar un rifle? Do you know how to load a rifle? Okay, fijaos. La pronunciación de esa palabra es how. Rima con now, de ahora. Cow, vaca. Brown, marrón. ¿Qué tal, vaca marrón? How now, brown cow. Okay. Deja que los alumnos trabajen juntos. Let the students work together. Let the students work together. Let. Let is permitir o dejar. También existen los verbos to allow and to permit. El verbo to permit, we don't use very often. The verb to allow is important, but it's more formal. Allow me to introduce myself. Permítame que me presente. Allow me to present myself or to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and fame, como decía Mick Jagger sobre el diablo. Allow me to introduce myself. Pero en el día a día no usamos mucho allow, ni permit. Usamos let. Déjame que me vaya, por favor. Let me go. Déjame que use este micro. Quiero, porfa. Let me use this microphone. Déjame que use mis listas. Let me use my lists. Déjame usar esta taza, es mi favorita. Let me use this cup. It's my favorite one. Of all the cups I have, no cup comes close to this one. This is my favorite cup. Let me use it, let me use it, let me use it. Let me go, let me go. Let me put the pen on the table. Let me touch the microphone. Let me say something to you. Aquí os habréis fijado que no pongo nunca let me to use. Let me to drink. No, let me drink. Let me go. Let me touch. Let me move. Let me look. Let me say. Let me speak. Déjame hablar un poco, por favor. Let me say something. Let me speak for a few minutes. Okay? Y let se usa muchísimo. Tanto que los niños hasta los 12, 13 años no empiezan realmente a usar la palabra allow. En el patio de recreo, a los 3 años, 5 años, 8 años usan let y nada más. Es así de corriente la palabra let. Let. Deje que los alumnos trabajen juntos. Let the students work together. Let the students work together. Let the people do what they want. All right, ¿qué harás cuando te jubiles? What will you do when you retire? When are you going to retire? When are you planning to retire? When are you going to take retirement? Most people retire at 65 or before. Some people take early retirement. Other people retire at the official or legal retirement age, and some people continue working. I know several people who are in their 70s and they're still working in an organization, receiving a salary. And I know a lot of people in their 70s who are still working in a professional activity, independent, freelance activity. Okay? So, jubilarse is to retire. Retirar, solo. No es verbo reflexivo, no es retirarse. To retire. Retire. Cuando yo me jubile, when I retire, mañana me jubilo. Tomorrow, I am retiring. Or I am going to retire. Cuando yo me jubile, haré siempre lo que he querido hacer. When I retire, I'll do what I have always wanted to do. Okay? When I retire. Cuando yo me jubile, yo no me aburriré. When I retire, I won't get bored. I guarantee you. When I retire. When I retire. When are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? Recordad esto, please. All right, ¿qué harás cuando te jubiles? What will you do when you retire? I'll do everything that I have always wanted to do. Pero cuando lleguen aquí, les mandaré a tu despacho. When they get here, I'll send them to your office. And until they get here, I won't do anything. But when they get here, I'll send them to your office. Okay? I'll take them to your office. I will escort them. Literalmente escoltar, ir acompañarles. To escort. Escort. Antiguamente había un coche que era un Ford Escort. Pero el verbo es to escort. Un Ford Escolta, literalmente. A Ford Escort. Now, I'll escort you to the office. To your office. When they get here, I'll escort them. I'll take them to your office. All right. ¿No sabes lo que ocurrió? Don't you know what happened? You don't know what happened? You're the only person here who doesn't know what happened. You're the only person. Aquí estoy usando en estas frases gramática pura, mecánica gramatical en acción, para que vuestros oídos absorben el juego tipo malabarista de la gramática del idioma. Para adelante, para atrás, para arriba, para abajo. Yes. Don't you know, no sabes, don't you know what happened? You're the only person who doesn't know. Don't I know? Do you know? Why don't you know? You're the only person who doesn't know. Saltando a la tercera persona singular. You're the only person who doesn't know. Okay? You're the last person to know. Okay, siempre tengo que hacer lo que él dice. I always have to do what he says. And I'm tired of doing what he says. I feel like doing things that I want to do and not simply following orders. My job is to do what he says. I have to follow instructions. I have to follow orders. If I don't do what he says, I'll be fired. I'll lose my job. Así que tengo que hacer lo que él dice. I have to do what he says. Tengo que hacer lo que tú dices. I have to do what you say. Say, says. Say, says. Every day I say, every day he says. If you speak French, do you speak French? Yeah. How do you say 16? 16 in French. Says. Así pronunciado en tercera persona. Says. Every day I say important things, and every day Pepe says important things. Okay. Él dice que estás un poco verde todavía. He says you're still a little green. You're not ready to start yet. You need some more training. You need some more practice classes. You're not ready yet. Okay? Dice que todavía estás un poco verde. Él. He says you're still a little green. In Texas decimos green behind the ears. I don't know why. It means the same. Poco verde. Poco novato. You're still too new in the job and you're still a little green. Okay, si no me ayudas, ¿cómo lo voy a hacer? If you don't help me, how am I going to do it? My job is to teach you English. And if you don't help me, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? If you don't help me, I need your help. I need your help. I need you to be my accomplice in this. And if you don't help me, mis palabras caen en el vacío. My words fall into nothing. If you don't help me. So, when this class is over, you have to start studying. And you have 5 minutes between the two segments of this class. Even during those 5 minutes, if possible, I would recomendaría. I would recommend that you continue to study, okay? Si no me ayudas, ¿cómo lo voy a hacer? If you don't help me, how am I going to do it? How am I going to find her? How am I going to go? How am I going to finish the water? How am I going to repair? Podéis practicar eso en casa fácilmente. ¿Cómo voy a reparar esto? ¿Cómo voy a beber esto? ¿Cómo voy a usar esto? ¿Cómo voy a sentarme aquí? How am I? How am I? How am I? Amaya, Cine Amaya. How am I? am I? ¿Hacéis el sonido fonético así, con la palabra, con el nombre de mujer? Amaya. How am I? How am I? Who am I? ¿Quién soy? Who am I? ¿Dónde estoy? Where am I? Where am I? Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Where am I going in life? I don't have any direction in life. Where am I going? Who am I? What am I doing? ¿Qué estoy haciendo? ¿Qué hago aquí? What am I doing here? This is a crazy place. This is a crazy place for teaching English on a television. I spend a lot of hours here. Yeah, I spend a lot of hours here. And sometimes I ask myself the same question. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Sometimes I become philosophical. And I think about existential questions. ¿Quién soy? Who am I? Fijaos cómo cierro la boca con la M. Who am I? My. Where am I? Am I the center of the universe? Or am I a drop in the ocean? Why am I here? Am I here for a purpose? Am I here to teach English really? Or is it simply a product of your imagination? Am I? Who am I? Okay. The next one. ¿Vas a perder? Vamos a perder nosotros mucho dinero este año. It's a recession. Estamos en crisis. We're in the middle of a crisis. Y vamos a perder mucho dinero. We're going to lose a lot of money this year. We're going to lose our shirt this year. Hasta la camisa vamos a perder. We're going to lose our shirt this year. But we will survive. Life is not so important that we can't find happiness in things that are not material. Our material well-being is going to fall this year. Our material well-being. Bienestar material. Our material welfare. Dos palabras. Welfare. Faire, fare. Viene de la palabra francesa faire, que es hacer. Bien hacer. Nuestro bienestar. Our welfare is going to go down this year. Our well-being. Material, not spiritual. And sometimes when your material well-being goes down, your spiritual well-being goes up if you're made of the right stuff. Si estás hecho de la materia prima más adecuada y idónea. If you're made of the right stuff, your spiritual well-being goes up when your material well-being goes down. Sometimes when your material well-being goes up, your spiritual well-being goes down. Y cuando te casas, lo dice el cura o el pastor. When you get married through the church or through a Protestant church, you and your spouse, el cónyuge, stand in front of a priest, cura, or a pastor, un reverendo, un ministro de la iglesia. And that person normally is reading a book and says, Paul, do you take Jennifer to be your wife in sickness and in health? Dice en la enfermedad y en la salud. In richness and poverty, en la riqueza y en la pobreza. And that's an interesting question, that second part. Why does the priest say in richness or in health? When things are going well, supposedly, happiness is easy. Nevertheless, no obstante, el cura dice las dos cosas. Because the priest or the pastor knows perfectly well, or the rabbi in a synagogue knows perfectly well, that often problems start when things are going well materially. Okay? When things are well material, sometimes you forget certain spiritual elements, certain non-material elements. And so in the liturgy, that's included. Because usually if two people separate or divorce, Usually it's when times are not bad materially, but often very good materially. Okay. Interesting question to debate another day. This is an English class, not a class on philosophy or ethics or morality or religion. Nevertheless, it's an interesting question. Okay. So, let's see. I will be back. Bring me over here for the camera. In just a few minutes. So, you have a few minutes and I'll be back and we'll continue with Vaughan and Vivo. All right?